Welcome to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for joining us. Well, it's no secret that Reno is in desperate need of more affordable housing. But there's a new project in the works meant to alleviate at least a little bit of the strain. Chris Askin with the Community Foundation of Western Nevada is here to talk about all of that. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you, Ariana. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great, great. Okay, so for those who haven't heard of the Community Foundation, just tell us a little bit about what it is.
Community Foundation is truly a foundation which belongs to the community. We're really a collection of people in this community. It's surprising to a certain extent that we're not better known. In our 20-year history, and it's our anniversary this year, we've actually distributed 9,000 grants totaling $110 million, 71% of which has gone to Northern Nevada. We administer scholarship funds. We've actually just awarded about 137 scholarships, $400,000, and we're not quite done with this current cycle. We administer organizational endowments, and one of the greatest privileges that we have is working with a lot of the area families on their current giving as well as their estate plans to give back to the community. Okay,
so have you done in the past physical projects like what you're about to take on?
We have done many projects. You could imagine with 9,000 grants with that scope over all of those years, that amount of money. We've been involved in many projects. We have experience receiving residential properties throughout the country, commercial properties, industrial properties. We own land in 5 states. A lot of the giving to and through the Community Foundation involves real estate. We own a Target store in Memphis. We actually own an operating business. We have commercial property that is that's leased out here in town. So although we haven't done this specific kind of project, we have the Community Foundation, we have some subsidiary LLCs, and we do have experience in some fairly complex land deals.
And then with the end goal being?
The end goal is, well, our mission is helping people who care with causes that matter. Our end goal is causes that matter. So when we think about Northern Nevada, we think about all of the things we really care about, that you care about, that I care about, that that we want to be amazing for our kids and our grandkids. Those are our things that we work on. To us, those are the tangible deliverables that we want to help the community realize.
Okay, so then Community Foundation stepped in to help with this big project that's happening downtown. It's happening on 250 Sage Street. I think we've got some video. We can show you the site of, there's basically nothing there at this point. It's a big empty lot. The city is considered putting a lot of different things on this site, but finally moving forward with this project, the Community Foundation is managing and fundraising for more housing. So take it away. Tell me what's going to be on this lot.
Well, the vision really didn't start with the lot. The vision started with the need. Now, the greatest need in housing that we have really is for the working poor. That's what the Community Foundation is focused on. It's not necessarily the homeless issue. If we can increase our affordable housing, we're going to help all levels of those who need housing. So we're focused on those individuals who are making $9 and $10 an hour, working full time, some working 40, 50 hours a week. There's no way they can afford a single bedroom apartment in this town that's $1,100 a month, $1,300 with utilities. For somebody making $8.25 an hour, $1,300 a month is their complete 100% income. Now the concept is that none of us should spend more than 30% of our income on housing. So for that same person making $8.25 an hour, making $1,350 a month, they could pay rent of $413 a month. That's who we're shooting for. So that's really where this concept came up. Some community members, our wonderful community members who are always thinking outside the box, found that there was some prefab housing. This is really heavy-duty housing constructed for miners and people who work in remote sites. They discovered 300 essentially dorm rooms in this complex of 6 buildings with a separate building for cafeteria, recreation, laundry, even a gym in Wyoming, and thought, what if we could bring that here? Think about how affordable that would be to bring in housing that already exists, that's actually, we just visited recently, Wyoming, and it's really in excellent condition. So what if we could bring that here, and what if we could actually have that in place on this State Street property before the snow flies, with the idea being that it's fully developed and people can move in there for about $400 a month, all inclusive, including cable and internet, for $400 a month.
Wow.
That is the vision.
We have a rendering of this if you want to go ahead and take a look at what the project would look like overall. Yeah, there it is. So you can see the dorms there on the bottom, the kind of community buildings in the middle there, and then more dorms on the other end.
Exactly.
And they're all single person dorms, right? They're very simple. But for someone who's housing insecure at this point, people may be living in weekly motels or couch surfing, that sort of thing. They're working, but can't go out on their own yet.
Right.
This is really a great opportunity.
Well, and sometimes we miss that. People, we say, well, why don't you get a job? Why don't you get an education? Well, of course, somebody does need to have some income in order to move in here, but they don't have to have long-term income. They just need to have that job that they've got, so they're making $1,300 a month. And being secure in your own place is huge. On this level of expense to income, 70% of your income is still discretionary for you. So you can get a car. You can save up for a one-bedroom apartment. And if you're not worried about where you're living and the cost of paying that every month, you accomplish so much more. So that's what we want to do, is we want to put people in a position where they can basically really take control of their lives, have resources that they themselves have earned to be able to then move to the next step.
But in order to do that, obviously, there have been some special things that have happened behind the scenes to keep those costs low. Otherwise, we'd be seeing a lot more affordable development if it were easy to do. It's not easy to do. And a big part of that was getting a cheap land transfer from public ownership to you guys. So the city of Reno basically said, we'll sell you this land for $1. You'll give it over to you, and that way that's a cost you don't have to deal with. You can still keep the rest of your costs low.
Right. So it's about an $8 million project altogether. Nothing's for free. So the land from the city is worth about $1.2 million. So right off the bat, there's a gift that's coming in somewhere, let's call it 15% of the total cost of the project is a contribution from the city through this land. And what a great use for this land. So that's right off the bat. The sellers of the units have offered to sell those to us $1.9 million and finance that over 10 years at a 1% rate. So we think we would, rather than trying to buy those by trying to raise charitable dollars, we would use that financing over a 10-year period. What we need charitable dollars for are some of the hard expenses. The development of the land, which is still a lot of work. You saw the video. It's very raw. There are utilities running all through it. That really has to be all properly done. We want this to be a beautiful place to live. So it shouldn't just be some dirt lot with these trailers on it. It needs to be landscaped. It needs to be, we want to have a dog park, fire pits, a real community to live there, and help with people on understanding planning for the future financially, and being able to access services. A nice parking lot, nice wrought iron fencing, not chain link, a place where you can park your car at night and not worry about it. So that's what this is all about. So we have started to receive some gifts, and between the city's gift and the buildings themselves and the financing for that, we already, out of the $8 million, have secured $4.8 million.
Wow.
That is covered. So at this point, we're trying to raise $3.2 million, which would finish funding the project.
Okay. And then when it's built, you said about $400 a month per person. They're all singles. Who qualifies for this? Is there going to be an application process, or first come, first served?
We want the process to mirror what you would find if you went out looking for an apartment. So when people come in, they're going to meet with a leasing agent. They would have their credit run. We would tell them what their credit means and ask them what their goals are. If they say, I would like to get my own one-bedroom apartment, we might say, well, your credit's currently 570. It needs to be 650 in order for you to do that. as long as their income is $1,300 a month, they're going to income qualify. But then we might tell them, okay, you're going to need an income of $2,700 a month to get that one bedroom. So now we're helping them realize where they need to get in terms of their goals. We also do run a criminal background check. That's part of that. We verify their income, and we look at what other services or support they might need. But basically that's it. And if they have their little dog with them, the dog moves in too.
All right.
That's just fine.
Okay, and then no time limit on how long they can live there. This could be their permanent home, or it could just be transitional, depending on their choice.
It could. As you know, most people who live in the dorms eventually move out of the dorms. So just because the room is it's a private room, but it doesn't have a restroom or a kitchen, and so we're anticipating that for most people this will be transitional. But there is no time limit. Once somebody has qualified to move in, they don't have to income qualify again. There won't be any future tests on that. So if somebody really likes it and it helps them to be successful and to be stable, then they're welcome to stay as long as they'd like.
Okay, so just my final question for you. If people want to help, how can they get in touch with you? What kind of help do you need?
We do need contributions. We also do need support. So if there are any developers, contractors who'd like to pitch in, we absolutely need that help. We have about 10 different contractors and developers who've already jumped in and said, we are going to help with this aspect of the project. This makes it a community project. This makes it work. In terms of contributions, contributions can be made to the Community Housing Land Trust, or CHLT, and sent to the Community Foundation. We're very easy to find, nevadafund.org. And to make a gift online, it's nevadafund.org/housing.
Okay, good stuff.
Thank you.
People, help, donate. We need projects like this.
Thanks.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for your
My
time.
pleasure.
Appreciate it. Well, coming up on Face the State, a major effort is underway to clean up the Truckee River and bring more people to its banks. We'll hear about what they're up to and what they're hoping to change right after the break.